proteins are. See what In this video, I want to talk about the effects that the deadlift has on the human spine. Now, the first thing I want to do is explain to the lifters what the lumbar vertebrae are. They are the vertebrae, the last 5 vertebrae in the spine from the bottom up, and they start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is at the bottom, and these vertebrae have a larger circumference than the other vertebrae. Now there are 3 forces at work on these vertebrae, okay, and they are compression, tension, and shear, okay. We have to understand those forces before we can understand how the deadlift affects these lumbar vertebrae. Now when you take into consideration the center of gravity, where the hands are, how low they are compared to the hips, they're out in front of the body, they're holding this heavy weight. It causes a torque on your lumbar vertebrae. And the center of rotation of this torque is the disc between L4 and L5. The line of action for the erector muscles is only 6 or 7 centimeters from this disc. And so they have to, in order to lift this weight, pull on those vertebrae, okay? And if you're just simply picking up a pencil off the floor, they pull with hundreds of pounds of pressure. If you're lifting a heavy weight in a deadlift, it's thousands of pounds of pressure. When you deadlift, your body is trying to stabilize itself against the ground, and that pushes the vertebrae upward. The erector muscles at the same time are pulling the vertebrae down, and this is where the compression comes from. So when we talk about compression, people generally think of just this, of the weight pushing down on your vertebrae. It's not that simple at all. Now there's a torque being applied to the spine, and that wants to pull you forward, okay? And there's also the effect of gravity on the upper body and the weight being lifted. And this creates a component of this, it gets really complicated, creates a shear on L5 and L4. Now the shear experienced at L4 and L5 is what we call true shear. That means that it's caused by the muscles and the ligaments. Now the trick to not getting hurt is to maintain your normal curve in your spine, and that's what your erector muscles do. They will create enough opposing torque to keep your spine in a normal curve. As long as that happens, you'll be all right. So without getting too technical, if you lift with a rounded back, you're losing the natural curve in your spine, and then you contribute to this shear at L4 and L5, and that's how you're going to get injured. Now you want to lift with a flat back, not a rounded back, but that doesn't mean, people get confused. They think it means a straight back. You can't go anywhere with a straight back because you got to move in a circle, right? Everything you do you move in a circle. So you're going to start with a flat back. You're going to be tilted forward. Okay, how far you're tilted forward is going to depend on your arm length, your leg length, your torso length, all those things together. So everybody's different, but it doesn't mean a straight up and down back. You're not going to go anywhere with that. Now, scientists like to measure the shear in newtons. I guess it's named after Isaac Newton. I don't know, but that can be converted to pounds too. But they calculated for a 600-pound deadlift that the shear force on that area, that L5, L4 vertebrae, would be 1,200 newtons. If it's done, the deadlift is done with a rounded back, that shear force is 6,700 newtons. So that tells you that lifting with a rounded back is extremely dangerous, and it's not going to help you get the weight up. Now, this advice that I'm giving is aimed towards the younger lifters. And I know some of you are probably thinking, there are some great deadlifters, some of the best in the world that lift with a rounded back, and that's true. However, they're able to do that because they've been lifting for so long that they have tremendous abdominal strength, which reduces the shear, and they've built over years of powerlifting, increased their bone mineral density, which also reduces the shear. And it's a general rule, they usually say that once you can lift over 3 times your body weight, then you can think about lifting with a rounded back. I still wouldn't recommend it, but it does shorten the distance you have to pull. But I'd never recommend it. But yes, there are people that do it, and those are the reasons why they're able to do it. Now, I hope that the younger viewers realize now that being a competitive powerlifter or bodybuilder requires a certain amount of expertise in a number of sciences and some real depth. We're not the dummies that we're made out to be by these commercial gyms. Actually, the commercial gym owners are nothing but a bunch of businessmen. They don't know what they're doing. They're not lifters. And the people they have working for them as personal trainers have taken, at the worst case scenario, a half-day seminar, and they're certified. The best would be the ISSA, which is a 6-month course. And at the end of that course, it's an open book test. Now, it's all a joke. Like I said, it's 10, 20, 30 years in the trenches, and this is how you become great. So just by listening to this video, you can see how complicated and dangerous powerlifting is, the 3 major lifts. So don't take this lightly. Study all you can from the proper sources, and I don't even go to a commercial gym anymore. It's just a toxic environment, and it's a dangerous environment. I train at home, and you can see some of my videos on the straight bar challenge, which help you learn to train at home.